We are incredibly excited to be partnering with Dr. Akua Woolbright and the Whole Cities Foundation to host the Let's Talk Food series during Team Member Appreciation Week in NorCal. Dr. Akua Woolbright is the Nutrition Program Director at Whole Cities Foundation, an organization on a mission to improve individual and community health through collaborative partnerships, education, and broader access to nutritious food. Through Whole Cities Foundation's Let's Talk Food Nutrition program, Dr. Woolbright offers free cooking and wellness classes in several locations across the U.S. She strives to empower individuals and communities to live healthier lives by providing authoritative nutritional information, passionate inspiration, and genuine support. Thank you so much for being here with us today, Dr. Akua. I am going to go through a couple of quick housekeeping items, and then we'll hand it over to you. Want to utilize all the time that we have for all the wonderful information that you have to share with our team members today. So just a couple of quick things. Make sure, team members, that you grab a paper and pen to take notes. Dr. Akua is going to have a lot of great tidbits that you're going to want to jot down to refer to later on. Please feel free to ask your questions in the chat, either by sending them privately to Dr. Akua, or if you feel comfortable, you can share them directly with the whole group. We will have someone monitoring the chat, and all questions will be answered at the end of the session during the Q&A. And without further ado, Dr. Akua, take it away.
Thank you so much for having me. I mentioned yesterday that I don't often have an opportunity to talk to team members because usually I'm out in the community doing this work. So I find this to be a great pleasure to be here with you guys this week. So I want to talk really fast today because we have a lot to cover. Immune is such an important topic, but I want to begin with doing a little overview from what we covered yesterday in case there may have been some things you missed, or if we have some new people on the call. So we started out talking about the standard American diet and its impact on health and wellness. And I mentioned that up to 30% of our food is based on animal products, whether that's beef, pork, poultry, seafood, eggs, or dairy. Around 60% comes from processed refined foods. All those things we see in the middle grocery aisles, the processed pastas, the boxed mac and cheese, instant potatoes, rice, crackers, cookies, chips, and all of those things we see in the boxes and packages. I would also include in that 60% all the junk foods, fried foods, and especially fast foods. So think about that. Over half of our dietary intake is coming from that processed food stuff. About 6% of our diet comes from fried or loaded potatoes, and a final 6% is where we get our green and colorful vegetables, colorful fruits, whole grains, legumes, nuts, and seeds, those plant-based foods. So when you stop to think about that, it's not hard to see why our health is in such imbalance. If you imagine a three-legged stool that only has two legs on it, that stool would be what? Pretty wobbly, pretty out of balance, right? So imagine that our diet is like that stool. Instead of having three legs, most of us think about only two things when we make dietary choices. And those are, I'm hungry, or I have a taste or craving for something. So we're feeding our hunger and we're feeding our cravings. The third leg on our health and wellness stool that I want us to pay more attention to is eating for health and wellness. Asking that question, did I feed my brain today? What about my ovaries, my prostate, my kidneys, my liver? And finding those foods, superfoods, herbs, spices that can flood each of our organs all the way down to our cells. You know, when we think about basing our diet on refined processed foods, we see that we are consuming a lot of empty calories with not a lot of nutritional value. One of our former Whole Foods Market Scientific and Medical Advisory Board members used to mention that Americans are overfed but undernourished. We think about malnutrition as being something we find in faraway lands. When I was in graduate school, I did a lot of my research in Ghana, which is in West Africa. I lived there for a while, and I spent a lot of time in the hospitals with children who were starving because they were not getting enough to eat. They were not intaking enough calories. But when we think about the word malnutrition, it's really bad. Mal means bad, so bad nutrition. So it's not just starving children. It could look like overweight or obesity. It could be chronic diseases that lead to medications, or perhaps you're just lethargic and tired, not having enough energy to get through your day. And the impact of that could really leave us with a compromised immune system. So when we completed that conversation yesterday, I gave everyone some homework. Your homework was to start thinking about how to increase your consumption of plant-based foods, just eating more produce. I want you to eat more variety, so thinking outside of your box and trying something new like rutabaga or turnips or pigeon peas, red quinoa, black rice. Now, I want you to definitely consider consuming more colors, eating red foods, purple, black, green, yellow, orange. The other thing I asked you to do is when you're thinking about your meals, remember the 4 pillars to healthy eating. The first pillar is whole foods, eating foods made by nature, not by man. Things your great grandmother would be able to source in her natural outdoor environment, bring it to her home, and prepare her meals from scratch. The second pillar after whole foods is plant-based, making sure that you're eating more produce than anything else. That will include, again, your green and colorful vegetables, your colorful fruit, legumes, whole grains, nuts and seeds, only a half handful per day, unroasted, unsalted. You really could stop at those first 2 pillars and make that your mantra. Whole foods, plant-based. Just drill that in, and that will guide you to healthy eating choices. The third pillar you can add in is healthy fats, and we get those from our first 2 pillars. Whole plant foods like avocado, nuts, and seeds. If we do this consistently every day, our food becomes that 4th pillar, micronutrient dense. This is when your food becomes medicine. You're getting more vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and phytonutrients, and less of what you don't need, saturated fat, excess calories, sugar, salt, oils, all of those things. Now, here's really where we start laying the foundation for health and wellness, is really thinking about those plant-based foods and those 4 pillars. It's important when you're thinking about immunity to focus on getting those junk foods, processed foods, sugary foods out of your diet. Why? When you're consuming those foreign food substances, your body will recognize those foods as invaders, and your immune builders will be diverted to go handle or counter those foreign food stuffs. So when you think about an army, I want to leave a very strong front line of defense to ward off colds, flus, and other viruses and harmful conditions. I don't want my front line of defense being diverted to deal with unhealthy food objects I'm putting into my system. So when you think about the body having to try to detoxify and pull out toxins, just know that it's being diverted from giving you optimal health and protection. So think about that. And sometimes the way that may manifest will be inflammation. So here's something you can start looking for. If you have a day where you really consume a lot of fast food or junk foods, even carbohydrates, especially refined carbohydrates, you will find that you may feel more bloated, not just around your abdomen, but also your whole body may kind of swell up or bloat, or you may feel more joint pain in your hips, your knees. If you feel that way, the next day, double up on your water. Drink more water to try to pull those toxins out of your body. Maybe eat some more green vegetables to see if your body goes back to homeostasis. So just know when you're putting those toxic foods into your body is responding in perhaps negative ways, and it's pulling defense away from your immune boosting that you need to ward off disease. So what do we do? Again, we want to focus on consuming real whole plant foods from the earth. These foods, when you get them right, will help you really handle any condition that you have, whether it's weight maintenance, diabetes, high blood pressure, or immunity. A lot of times when I do these talks, people will still come up with individual questions. Like, what do I do for diabetes? What do I do for high cholesterol? I have whatever condition they are suffering from. And I will say that it's important to know that regardless of what you're trying to manage, the answer always is starting with a whole foods, plant-based diet. That's your foundation. And that's really what separates our program from other fads and other weight loss programs you see on the market. There's a lot of weight loss programs being advertised, but when you get the food right, it really takes care of everything. And that's why I keep drilling in whole foods, plant-based as our mantra. So beyond that, we've talked about yesterday really increasing the amount of colors that we consume, because we know each color corresponds to a different set of nutrients. So by getting the purple, orange, red, yellow, green, white foods into your diet, you're then flooding your systems, organs, cells, and DNA with what I like to call your own personal Navy SEALs, sharpshooters, and disease assassins. This is where your food becomes medicine. This is power in every bite that you take. So think about getting more color into your diet for all of the conditions that you're facing. For immunity, colors that are particularly important will be your yellow, orange, and green foods. These are the colors that have the most immune boosting power. And green foods, in addition to boosting your immunity, also acts as detoxifiers, removing toxins from the body. So think about including more citrus into your diet, your orange and yellow peppers, sweet potatoes, broccoli, cabbage, kale, spinach, collard greens, mustard greens, bok choy, Swiss chard, the whole variety of yellow, orange, and green foods for that added power. Now I want to move away from whole foods, plant-based, and go into more specific things you can do to also increase immunity. It's important that you consume enough high-quality protein throughout the day. It doesn't work as effectively if you sit down and eat one large steak at one time. Your body needs protein in equal amounts throughout the day. So try to spread it out equally, about 10 to 20 grams of protein 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Why? Because those immune antibodies are built directly from protein. So as we enter the cold and flu season, as we think about the coronavirus and other immune conditions that we could face, having the protein throughout the day will give you more immune antibodies to fight off disease. Now, I want to talk about our friends in produce and whole body, two of my favorite departments in our entire store. And I want to go through a list of some things that we know can really enhance your immune fighting ability. So if you have questions about any of these products, talk to your produce team members, talk to your team members in whole body. I'm sure they'll be happy to give you more information. So here's some of my favorites. Acai, blue-green algae. You can buy that powdered and you can mix it with water or add it to your smoothies. Cacao, one of my favorites. Echinacea, elderberries. To me, elderberries are a must-have. So I buy the syrup that we sell in whole body. We even have a 365 product that's really great. Those emergent seed packs. We even have a 365 vitamin C crystals that you can buy. I like to carry those in my purse, keep them in my car. I add them to my water and just have a lemon lime drink. Fresh garlic, fresh ginger, goji berries. You can eat this dried, or you can buy it in the powder and add to your smoothies. One thing I like to do with goji berries, I'll buy them dried and I'll put them in water to rehydrate them. I'll let it sit there for a couple of hours until they become plump again, and I will heat it and then add a bag of tea, whatever my favorite tea is. I kind of have a goji berry herbal tea combination, great for immune boosting. Mushrooms, you can eat mushrooms raw or cooked. And also, I like the mushroom teas. I'll get the reishi or the shiitake mushroom tea. And again, very excellent immune boosters. Noni juice, that's kind of old school. That was really popular back in the 70s and 80s. Whole Foods Market used to sell it. I haven't seen it in some of our stores lately. It kind of has, I'll just say, interesting flavor. It's not an acquired taste because I'm not sure anyone has ever acquired a taste for noni juice. It's horrible, but it really has been reported to have a lot of healing properties for a lot of conditions. So I always add it to the list. Onions, I like to include fresh onions in different ways. Oregano oil is another must-have in my house. I always keep oregano oil and put it underneath my tongue. Spirulina, again, you can buy it in the capsules. If you can't take the taste of that kind of fishy taste, or you can buy the powder and add it to your water or your smoothie. Turmeric, and we know the fresh turmeric is best when it's cooked with oil and black pepper. The fat and the pepper helps it to be better absorbed into the body. Now, I want to talk about vitamin D. A lot of us are really, oh, someone wanted me to repeat the name of the juice. The name of the juice is noni juice. It's spelled N-O-N-I, noni juice. It's those old school hippies in the 70s were really big on noni juice. And like I said, we used to sell it. I'm not sure if all of our stores still do. I do want to talk some about vitamin D. We know that a lot of us are vitamin D deficient, especially those of us who live in cold climates where we're not exposed to sunshine on our upper torso throughout the day. And people who are dark skinned, like African Americans, people from the Middle East, may be more prone to vitamin D deficiencies. And research has really been clear around this. People who are chronically deficient in vitamin D are more susceptible to getting cancer, a variety of different types of cancer. Vitamin D is critically important to having a healthy, strong, resilient immune system. So how much vitamin D should you take? If you're a woman aged 19 to 50, you need about 1,000 milligrams per day. If you're over 50 or a man, you need a little bit more. You need 1,200 milligrams per day. I would recommend, if you have dark skin or you live in a cold climate, for you to be tested for vitamin D deficiency because you may need more. But don't take more than what I just recommended on your own without your doctor's recommendation, because vitamin D is fat soluble and your body will store it over long periods of time. And if you take more than you need, it can become highly toxic. That's very different than vitamin C. Remember, I mentioned the emergency crystals and the vitamin C crystals. You can take more vitamin C and get away with it because that's water soluble. And if you take more than you need, you just release it when you urinate. So vitamin D, get tested if you think you may be deficient. Otherwise, women 19 to 50, 50 milligrams per day. Older women and men, 1,200 milligrams per day. Something else I love that I see in our whole body department, I'm just kind of going down in alphabetical order, is our wellness formula. Sometimes people will recommend that Gaia product, I think it's the Quick Defense, that Gaia Herbs makes. When I compare the Gaia Herbs Quick Defense with the wellness formula made by Source Naturals, for me, I feel like the wellness formula knocks out whatever I have immediately. If I have a tingle in my throat or a slight little cough, that wellness formula that we sell in Whole Body does the trick for me every single time. So I highly recommend it as an immune booster. And of course, we need to make sure we're getting in enough zinc. If you're taking a multivitamin mineral complex, it may already have zinc included in that. So you may want to check to see if your supplement already includes zinc. And so those are some of my favorite natural remedies. I will give you some caution though. When you're using natural remedies to fight off a cough, a cold, or sore throat, in my experience, it helps if you kind of hit it immediately. At the first sign of any dis-ease, the first moment you feel it, start attacking it with your oregano oil, your elderberry, your wellness formula, and it usually knocks it out within the first couple of days. However, this is important. If you develop a fever or think you have come in contact with someone who has COVID-19, do not take any of these remedies, especially the echinacea and the elderberry. Some research shows it can cause this fever to spike even more. Also, if you are on medication or have a chronic disease, just please see your doctor before adding any natural remedy, because sometimes, even though it may be natural and herbal based, it can still interfere with your condition and or your medication. So if you have any concerns around fever, coronavirus, or chronic disease, please see your doctor before administering any of these things. Now, as we get ready to conclude, I want to give you some other things that I use as part of my wellness regime. I have a whole little process I do for my own personal self-care that I want to share with you. Of course, I drink plenty of water. I mentioned earlier, thinking about feeding your organs and your cells, like what food do I need for my brain? Maybe I need some purple foods. What foods do I need for my heart? Maybe some orange and red foods for that. Maybe some white foods and green foods for my bone health. But when I think about my kidneys, I think about, eating things like parsley, ginger, garlic, maybe some dandelion greens or dandelion tea. Maybe I can use a stinging nettle or marshmallow root tea or supplement. But the main thing I can do for my kidneys is drink plenty of water. Plenty of water. And it also helps you with immune boosting because it removes toxins and impurities from your body. So how much water should you drink? At least 64 ounces per day. Another way you may gauge that is half your body weight. So if you weigh 140 pounds, drink 70 ounces of water every day. Drink your water. If you want to mix it up some, you could also do some herbal teas. A plain herbal tea with no caffeine can be really rich in antioxidants and phytonutrients, which can also give you more immune boosting power and can help you just flood your system with more nourishment and healing. So think about your herbal teas as well. Avoid stress eating. So when we first got the stay-home order, a lot of people were treating it like a holiday. It was an excuse to just eat what you wanted, and it helped us also to feel better and maybe to be more comforted. I would just say, especially with the holiday season coming up, start thinking now about how you can take your wellness with you into the holidays and put a plan in place so that you can still bring those healthy, nourishing foods to your holiday table. Also find ways to reduce stress in general. We know that stress can compromise our immune system. So find things that you enjoy. I always ask people to find their happy. So ask yourself, what is my happy spot? What is my sweet spot? Do you like walking, hiking, spending time at the beach? Is it being with friends and family and laughing until your belly hurts? Perhaps you enjoy dancing. For me, one of my favorite things is doing yoga, and I love walking. I love doing what I call my walking meditations. This is where I pray. It's where I express gratitude. It's where I just feel like I'm part of the universe. It's where I can think and clear my brain. I can feel the stress just washed away from me when I go on my long, long neighborhood walks. And finally, I really love this app called the Insight Timer. It has literally about 10,000 different meditations, music, soundscapes, and even adult bedtime stories. I will listen to an adult Hansel and Gretel with a theme or a moral that's spiritual in nature for grown-ups. And they have meditations for everything around boosting your immune system to reducing pain. They have meditations for regenerating your cells, for getting rid of stress, being more active in your social life, being more confident in business and in the workplace. If you can think of it, there's a meditation for it on the Insight Timer app. And I'm going to mention the importance of sleep, right? We know that when we sleep, we build our immune system back up, and we're able to regenerate our cells overnight. So what do? I combine my stress reducing Insight Timer meditations with sleep. So every single night as I'm going to bed, I set my Insight Timer to either a soundscape or a guided meditation for about 90 minutes, and I fall asleep to that. It's so peaceful. It's so soothing. I feel like I'm nourishing my soul when I do that. And because we know our subconscious is still active, even as we sleep, all of that benefit is still being infused into us. So remember finding some way to reduce stress that works for you. And also, it's important to get at least 7 to 9 hours of sleep each night to really help us all have a healthy immune system and just healthier lives. So I hope all of this has made sense to you. I hope it's beneficial. I really want us to find ways to take our health into our hands and to feel empowered to make those active choices to do things that will help us feel more energetic, come off medication, prevent and reverse disease, and live longer, healthier lives. Thank you. Do we have questions today? Okay. So it says, is it possible to maintain healthy immunity and stay active with current pure air quality? So a lot of people are very concerned about the environment, right? Because as much as we want to eat healthy and exercise, right? And that's another thing that we can do for our immune is to exercise and make sure our body is moving, especially after each meal. Some of us don't really live in walkable communities, or you may live around a lot of, power lines and exhaust and fumes and chemical plants. So how do you really remain healthy, in that environment? And in California, you guys are dealing with the wildfires, right? So how do you boost immunity with all of that going on? So I would just say, and from my perspective, we do the best we can. I think that we should just find ways to move, even if we have to do it in our own homes, which I do a lot. I like my old school workout DVDs. I have my yoga studio is offering classes virtual, so I do those. So I do a lot of my work out inside my own home. So you may want to consider rethinking how you work out, because we may not feel comfortable walking. We may not feel comfortable going to the gym, but if you have stairs in your home, walk the stairs. If you have a jump rope, you can do jump rope. You can run in place. You can do a treadmill. You can use an old set of weights or a resistance band. So I would just say, find a way to move that makes sense to you. One of our scientific and medical advisory board partners, Dr. Joel Furman, one day was getting on me about not moving enough. And I gave him all kinds of excuses about why I couldn't do it. And I'm so busy, you don't understand my life. And he said to me, okay, so tell me your life. So when you come home from work, give me a picture. What are you doing? I said, well, I'm helping my son, who at the time was like 3 or 4, with homework. And then I'm having to make dinner. He said, okay, perfect. That's when you'll work out. You give him a homework assignment, you get him started on his assignment, and then you run in place for just 5 minutes. Okay, you put the pasta on, you're waiting for it to boil. You can run in place for another 5 minutes. Okay, maybe while you're waiting for the sweet potato to cook, you can do push-ups on the wall. Just give me 20. Wherever you are, find a way to move. And that was kind of the challenge he gave me way back in 2009, and it stuck. And so I would just say, if you're finding that you don't have a walkable community, or you have poor air quality, find some other way to move. And we know that our air quality can affect our immunity. So how do you counter that? That's why it's even more important to really flood your body with those colors. yellow, orange, and especially green foods that can pull out some of those toxins and help to purify and detoxify your body. This is why it's important if you can get an air filter, or you can take some of these supplements and these spices. All of these things go a long way in countering our environment and the things we take on from our diet. So I hope that answered your question. Okay, someone wants me to repeat the 4 pillars. The first one is whole foods. Eating real whole food from the earth. Another way to say that is food made by nature, not by man. Your great, 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 great ancient grandmother would find it in her outdoor environment, walking, swimming, flying, or growing. So this would not be Kraft macaroni and cheese, lean cuisine, pizza roll-ups and hot pockets. That would not count. Something that she would actually bring from outside, from her garden or her farm, and prepare in her kitchen. The second pillar is plant-based, eating green and colorful vegetables, colorful fruit, whole grains, legumes, just a few nuts and seeds each day, unroasted, unsalted. Those first 2 pillars are your mantra. Only 2 you really need to focus on: whole foods, plant-based. The third one is healthy fats. Getting those healthy fats from your avocado. Just half an avocado a day is all you need. Every avocado is 380 calories, so eating too much can lead to weight gain. Even if it's a healthy fat, it's still calories. And then just a few tablespoons of seeds or half your handful of nuts. The fourth pillar is micronutrient dense, and it happens automatically when you really do those first three pillars. Your food becomes medicine. So I hope that answered that question. Oh, food for insomnia. Okay, here's a trick I use for insomnia. It may seem counterintuitive. Just bear with me. So I like to use cacao. And sometimes people are surprised because it could be a stimulant. But I have found that if I heat some soy milk, there's something about the estrogen-like properties of soy specifically. When I heat it and add cacao to it, that takes an edge off at night and helps me to sleep. I also find that that same combination of hot soy milk with cacao, it's like a hot soy chocolate, helps women who are going through menopause. It can take off the irritability that you experience during menopause and also help to decrease the hot flashes. So cacao and hot soy milk, specifically soy milk, can help you sleep at night. And I have found too that the Insight Timer helps because it's a free app and it just helps me to relax and calm. And you can find meditations on there specifically for insomnia and sleeplessness. So there's meditations on the app specifically for that. And if your insomnia persists, and if you're a woman, I'm not sure who asked that question, you may want to see your doctor because sometimes it can be hormone related. You may want to regulate your thyroid, your estrogen, or your progesterone. So sometimes insomnia can have a health component. So if it's really persistent, I would recommend you get that checked out. Oh, a neti pot. I like these questions. I love a neti pot. I love a neti pot. For you guys who don't, I think we sell them in whole body, or some of our stores do. But this is a pot that you can fill with saline, and sometimes you can even buy like a little syringe that you fill with saline, and you can just put saline water through one nostril and it comes out the other to kind of clean the nasal passages. A lot of people have great results reducing mucus that way and breaking up inflammation. So I love a neti pot. Something else I love is a nice steam. So here's my recipe for a steam. I'm gonna put a pot of water on a stove. I'm gonna put a lot of stuff in the pot and put the towel over it. And I'm gonna breathe in those warm vapors. You wanna take a break every few seconds so you don't burn your face. But I put things in that pot like grapefruit, I cut it, so the peel and the fruit. I cut up orange, lemon, onion, garlic, ginger, turmeric, and I may even put a little bit of clove in there. So I'll give that to you again. Grapefruit, orange, lemon, garlic, onion, ginger, turmeric, and cloves. How much? How much you like. I may do like 1 grapefruit, 2 oranges, 3 lemons. For the ginger, I may do like 4 inches. For the turmeric, maybe about 4 inches cut up. For the garlic, maybe 6 cloves of garlic. And then with the cloves, I just kind of shake a little bit in there, get it boiling, turn it down, and just inhale those vapors. Now, very similar to that, I would do the same thing. 1 grapefruit, the fruit only, 2 oranges, the fruit only, 2 lemons, a few cloves of garlic, some ginger, some turmeric, and a blender. And I blend it all up. And I make what I call my immune boosting citrus slushy with my grapefruit, orange, lemon, ginger, garlic, turmeric. If I want to be real strong that day, I may add half an onion just to give it a little extra boost. But I put that in my mason jar, sit it in my refrigerator, and just eat a few tablespoons at a time. Skin health. Okay, so I really think that when you're doing everything we talk about, that's going to improve your skin. People said all the time, like, when you see someone who's really eating a plant-based diet, their skin tends to be real rosy and glowy. When I don't have so much makeup on, I feel like my skin looks really healthy, right? So I would just say that eating all of those detoxifying foods, especially your dark green leafy vegetables, and the rest of the colorful rainbow of produce is going to do wonders for your skin. Drinking half your body weight in water is going to do wonders for your skin. So for me, that's really where I start, is by eating real good food. I also think orange foods do a lot for the skin too, like your carrots, your sweet potatoes. I feel like those are so nourishing for skin, hair, nails. So that's really where I start. I know we sell in Whole Body some special supplements for skin and hair. I don't really think those are all of that necessary. I think it's really the colorful rainbow of produce, especially like your orange and your green produce, plenty of water, and then, using some nice moisturizer. Like I love our rose hip oils. I just put a little bit of oil on my skin, especially at night, and kind of sleep with that and let my face drench it. We sell in Whole Body the Pacifica face mask. There's one that's like a green tea and chamomile. I put that on my face for about 15, 20 minutes with my Insight timer meditation. It does wonders for my skin. So I would say find some type of moisturizer, some type of oil where you can just kind of feed and nourish your skin just for overnight or for just 10, 15 minutes at a time. Foods for anxiety. Well, we'll get into some of this tomorrow. I hope you come back when we talk about the foods for boosting mood and regulating blood sugar. It may not seem like those two go together, but there's some connections there. So I would say that, you want to look at some of your whole grains. Can be really good for that because they're going to be rich with your B vitamins. For some people, they go as far as take a B12 supplement. If you're going to supplement with B12, I would say get the lozenge that goes under your tongue and make sure it's methyl B12. That sublingual absorption is better for B12. So I would say maybe that's a place to start. If you don't want to take the supplement, just finding those whole grains that are so rich in B vitamins can really do a lot for just stabilizing mood. Also, we see some of the same benefits from some of our orange and green foods, and we will get more into detail around the specific foods I want you to eat for mood, which I would also include anxiety in that tomorrow, because really what we're trying to nourish is the central nervous system, the command center, to bring everything even. I did mention earlier the cacao and the soy milk. That's really great for irritability, and sometimes it may help to bring down anxiety as well. And finding some place to just be still, and to find a way to not identify where the anxiety comes from. That's not always, we don't always know where it comes from. Sometimes we're anxious about something specific like the wildfires, or we lost our job, or someone's sick. Other people are just more sensitive, and they kind of have an underlying anxiety. And so I hate to keep talking about meditation and the insight timer, but again, there's a lot of meditations on there specifically for anxiety to help your body change how it's connecting and responding, and it helps the body to relax, even if the brain doesn't know why the body is anxious. So sometimes there's ways to kind of go around the brain to calm the body in spite of what our knowing is. Measurement for vitamin D. So someone's asking how much vitamin D we need to take each day. Is that what the question is?
What are the measurements for vitamin D?
I'm sorry?
It's just what are the measurements?
What are the measurements for vitamin D? So I'm going to answer that two ways because I'm not exactly sure what you're asking. So if you're asking how much vitamin D we consume, if you're a woman 19 to 50 years of age, it's 1,000 milligrams per day. If you're a woman over the age of 50 or a grown man, it's a little bit higher. It's 1,200 milligrams per day. If you want your doctor to measure your vitamin D levels, you would ask them to test your serum vitamin D, so you see how much vitamin D is circulating in your bloodstream. They'll know exactly what test to give you, and they can let you know if you're chronically vitamin D deficient. Because if you are, again, you can be more susceptible to cancers and other immune-based conditions. Rainbow foods, health benefits. I'm not exactly sure what that question is asking.
So like the yellow, orange, green.
Okay. So someone's asking like, what are the different colors and what do they benefit? So there's a really great chart that you can get if you Google, I think it's Neil Barnard. He runs the Physician Committee for Responsible Medicine. He has a beautiful chart of the rainbow foods. Another person who has a really beautiful chart is Dina Minnick. I'll spell both of their names. So first, Neil Barnard is Neal. His last name is Barnard. He runs the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine out of Detroit. Out of Washington, D.C. And he actually has a beautiful chart that you can just download for free if you Google it on the internet. And Dina Minnick, her name is spelled Deana, and her last name is Minich. She has a whole website about the different rainbow colors and what they do in the body. So for instance, we know the purple foods are really great for brain health. We know that we look for our orange, red foods for heart protection. We know that the red foods can be really also rich in lycopene, which can be great for cancer protection. We talked about the yellow, orange, and green foods being great for immune boosting, and for those green foods being great for detoxifying and purifying of the body. We know, again, those dark green leafy vegetables and some of our white foods like cauliflower will be high in calcium, so really great for our bones. But when you look at some of the colors and what they do in the body, what you honestly find is a lot of overlap, because we know that 8 ounces of carrot juice contains as much calcium as cow's milk, and that's an orange food. But I just got finished saying that you go to your green foods for calcium. So there will be some overlap. So you may find some orange foods that help with calcium, while we know the orange foods are really great for the heart, right? You may find some green foods that are really great for calcium, while we know the green foods are really great for detoxifying and purifying. So you will find a lot of that overlap of the benefits across the colors. So this is why, for me, it's important to really consume the entire rainbow every day throughout the day. And going back to a question we had yesterday, it's also important to make sure you're consuming both raw and cooked foods, because some foods are better cooked. Some foods are better absorbed when they're eaten raw. So I would just say eat a variety of color and a variety of raw and cooked. That way you don't have to become a nutritionist and start memorizing what does what. You're just flooding your systems, organs and cells with all of this life-giving nutrition with every bite that you're taking. Does water remove nutrients from the body? No, not really. So what water is going to do when you consume more water is that you're going to remove the toxins and the impurities from the body. The nutrients from your foods are going to be absorbed into your intestines, into your cells, into your blood, and it's going to go to the different parts that it needs to go to heal. Actually, your body needs to be properly hydrated for the nutrients to be best absorbed and used by the body. You don't want your body having to pull hydration from the foods you're eating. You want the body to have the water that it needs to be properly hydrated and for your body to have proper functioning. So if you consume the amount of water you're supposed to, just half your body weight, you're not going to drink 2 gallons of water because people have died doing that. Just the amount of water you need, everything in its proper balance, you're going to have proper nourishment along with proper hydration. Oh, someone's asked me about Noon tablets. It's spelled N-U-U-N tablets.
In the water.
Oh, put it in the water. I don't know these. You know this?
I don't.
You know this. So put Noon tablets in the water. I don't know enough about it to really answer that question. I've never heard of them before. I've never used them, so I'm sorry I can't help you with that question. Amount of zinc for immunity. So with zinc, you don't really want to overdo it. So I would say whatever comes naturally in a multivitamin mineral supplement, just leave it at that. If you are maybe in the cold and flu season, or you're feeling like you may have a tickle coming on or scratchy throat coming on, I would then go to like one of those zinc lozenges, one of those zinc cold and flu remedies. I wouldn't go buy zinc as a supplement and start taking extra zinc. I would buy a product that's specifically for the cold and flu season and put that probably underneath my tongue. That's how they often come. And I would just leave it at that. You don't want to start supplementing with extra zinc because it can throw your body out of balance. So to whatever comes in a typical multivitamin mineral supplement or in something you would buy specifically for the cold and flu season. You may see it in your wellness formula capsules. You may see it in some of the other cold and flu remedies that we sell in whole body. However it comes, just take that remedy, but not zinc mineral on its own because it'll be too much for your body. Oh, so Noon is electrolytes. Okay, so do you want to add electrolytes to your water? You can. I like doing that sometimes. So you can have fun with your water in all kinds of ways. So some people want to add electrolytes to it, or you may buy water that's already bottled that way. I think that's fine to do. Also, you'll see people doing water that is alkaline or have a certain pH. I think that's fine as well. I drink a lot of different types of water. There's some research that indicates it's important to have a variety of different types of water from different sources in your body. So I try to mix my water up some. Also, you can change the pH level of your water by, adding mint, cucumbers, or fruit to your water. Sometimes I may add citrus juice or apple cider vinegar to my water, not too much. The citrus and the apple cider vinegar can be too acidic and can harm the enamel on your teeth or your throat. So I would say when it comes to electrolytes and alkalinity in your water, yes, it's fine. Play with it. Do I think it's essential? No. Do I think it's like some cure-all? Like some people really promote it as being a cure-all? No. There's some people out here saying that you need to have certain water to prevent cancer. Like there's people even in Detroit that's selling water that's going to cure people of everything. And people actually line up around this place buying this really expensive water I think it's okay. I include it in my diet sometimes. But I think variety is fine too. You know, our grandparents grew up drinking plain old well water or tap water, and I think that's just fine also. Any more questions? Well, we got through all the questions. I'm not sure if we stayed within our time allotment or not. I hope that we did. And I hope that I gave you enough information to get started on your healthy eating journey. And that when you put all these things in place as a whole lifestyle, that you will find that your conditions are improving. You're managing your weight, right? You're coming off medications. You see some disease kind of falling away. You boosted your immunity. And you're seeing people around you who maybe are getting colds throughout the cold and flu season, and you look up, wow, I haven't had a cold in 2 years. I haven't had a cough in 2 years. And you start recognizing that your body is responding to all the good that you're doing for it. So I wish you health and wellness.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Akua. We really, really appreciate your time and your knowledge being shared with us. A super relevant topic. Another really relevant topic for tomorrow's session is foods for maintaining a healthy mood, vibrant energy, and stable blood sugar. We hope you can join us, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thank you so much again. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye.